Welcome to PlanHub's Masterclass courses for takeoff and estimation. My name is Greg. In this video, you'll learn how to use the takeoff and estimation tools to complete an estimate for landscaping. Knowing how to set yourself up for successful takeoffs and estimates will save you time and money so you can bid more projects and grow your company. For a full takeoff and estimate, your first step is to obtain any pertinent details. For this training, I've found a project, reviewed the plans, and sent them into Takeoff using the file viewer. Please watch the Takeoff Getting Started videos if you'd like to learn more about this process. I've got the plan page loaded in, and I've already set the scale, but let me show you quickly how that will be accomplished. In the upper right corner of the page, we have the scale defined as 1 inch equals 10 feet. There's also a graphic scale in case you wanted to verify the scale that you're setting, or you could use this graphic as your guide for setting a calibrated scale as well. So in this case, we're going to set our scale at 1 inch equals 10 feet. Click the scale icon, locate the scale I need, and then click Set. To verify the scale, all we need to do is go grab the ruler from the Markup button. Here we can focus in on any region we'd like to verify with. I'm going to begin this measurement at 0, click once, drag this all the way across to the 20 mark, and I'll zoom in to make sure I really place it exactly where it needs to go. And now we can see that we set the scale at 1 inch equals 10 feet, and the known measurement of 20 feet is measured appropriately. So we can move forward taking measurements on this plan page with confidence. Next, I'm going to take a look at my plant schedule so I can obtain a count of all the quantities of the plants we need to provide. Here it's got our quantities listed, but I'm going to show you how you would obtain those quantities from a plan page that either their quantities weren't listed or if they were incorrect and you wanted to perform your own count. Also, if you have access to our estimation tools, then you can perform counts even though the quantities are listed. So you have the count measurements you can send over to become entries in your estimate. So to get started there, I'm going to click the count icon at the bottom of the page on the toolbar. Here I'll give this the name of the first tree. We have the choice of the colors we can stamp on the page. We also have the choice of symbols that we can use to stamp on the page. I'm going to stick with the green target dot for the live oaks and then click Set in the menu. I'm going to pan my page with the right mouse button, click and drag until I see the symbol that coordinates with the live oak. Then I'm going to click one time to place the symbol in that spot to denote that I've counted that object. Next, I'll pan around until I find the other live oak right here and click and place a symbol there as well. On a large scale like a landscape scale, you might want to right-click reopen your properties box and increase the size of the stamp you're placing on the page. That'll make the symbol that you put on the page easier to see on a large scale such as this. Next, we're going to move on to the next kind of tree, our blackjack oak. We should expect to find 4, so let's see what we get. I'm going to start my count tool, give this the name blackjack oak. And I want to turn its symbol size up, and let's put a purple lightning bolt on every blackjack oak. Alright, I see one in the upper right hand corner right here. I'm going to place the symbol there with a click, and then pan the page around until I locate the other blackjack oaks, and here are the other 3 right here in a row. So I'm going to click center chunk for those. Next, we're going to move on to the next kind of tree, which is our crepe myrtle. We expect to find 27 of those. We can look over on the right side of the page in the results panel and see the results we've got so far. We've counted 2 live oaks, 4 blackjack oaks, and the blackjack oak is still engaged as a count tool, so I can either turn that off with the arrow at the top of the command bar, or I could have clicked the switch right there on the result to turn that tool off, so that I can drop down to the toolbar, click count again, and start a new count for my crepe myrtles. I'm going to give these a red color, and let's go with a star. So we're going to place a red star on every crepe myrtle that we need to plant. Starting in the upper left corner, there's one here. I'm going to pan down and pick up other crepe myrtles along the way. And now I'm going to continue across this plan page, placing a count symbol so that we receive a tally for every one of the crepe myrtle symbols on the page. Here we are at the final 2. I'm going to stamp this one and one more. And now if you look on the right side of the page in the results panel, we are up to 27. Next, we're going to continue the process for our shrubs, starting with the Indian hawthorns. We expect there to be 65 of those. After I give this count a name, Indian Hawthorn, select my color, symbol, and size. Now I'm going to click Set, pan around the page, and place a stamp on every one of the Hawthorn symbols. What I can do also is go ahead and set my counts up for my red yucca and my Texas sage and have all three of them going at the same time. To do that, I'm going to turn off the Indian Hawthorn tool, then click Count so I can create my yucca tool. We'll place a couple of stamps on the yuccas, and I'll turn that off so that we can start our Texas sage as well. And now, since I have multiple tools going for different counts, I can place all the count symbols for the particular one that I'm counting now, and then I can come back over and toggle between the two of them, or even the third in this case. I'll count my yuccas on this row, and then I'll re-engage the Indian Hawthorn so I can make sure I've got all my Indian Hawthorns in this region counted as well. So I can toggle back and forth between the count tools as I need to. I'm going to continue this process until I have all of these shrubs counted. Alright, I've just clicked the final Indian Hawthorn up here in the corner, and it looks like we are up to 65, 36, and 37, which correlates to the schedule perfectly. And we can see by our count symbols, the colors placed on the page, every one of our plants now in this landscape has been marked. Next, we need to measure the surface area that's going to receive sod, because we're going to have to lay the sod as well as a 3-inch layer of topsoil underneath. Since we have two materials we're going to be providing with the same measurement, I'm also going to build an assembly in the estimation tools that will charge for both those items simultaneously. First, we need to acquire the square foot area measurement for the sodded territory. So I'm going to go to the bottom toolbar, click the area tool, and while these are not perfect squares or rectangles, I'm going to choose the multi-point or our version of a polygon tool so we can trace around any shape that we need to. Here we're going to call this 609 buffalo sod. Next, I'm going to give it a color. Let's do green for grass. Then we'll click Set to get started. All of our measuring tools work the same that turn corners, so I'm going to click once with my left button to begin the measurement. This measurement's going to follow me up the page now, and I'm going to click at every corner where I need to change direction. And then when I set my very final point, I'll double click to terminate the section. With arcs, I'm going to be making a series of very small clicks around this arc. In order to do that, I need to disengage my snap to angle setting. So I can either click the switch here on the toolbar to disable that, or I can hold down my spacebar while I'm measuring, and that will also allow me to move to any angle that I like. While holding the spacebar, I'm tracing out a series of very small segments. Everywhere I stop, I'm putting a click down so that I can simulate the shape of this curve. Double clicking there at the final point to end that section. So to add the additional territory of sod that needs to be measured, I click the continue switch here on the beginning of the measurement, and then I'll measure exactly like we've done before. I'm going to choose a position to start in, click once. That measurement's going to follow me across. If I have small measurements to make or arcs like in a curve, I'm going to hold down my spacebar like right there so that I can measure that very small step up. And here at this sidewalk, I'm going to hold my spacebar down again so I can trace that irregular shape of that little curve there. Now I can move all the way across and double click to finish that section. Pan up, do the exact same thing for the territory above. Across on the left side of the page, there's additional sod to be measured. I'm going to line my page up here and follow the exact same process. Okay, that ends the measuring portion. I'm going to go ahead and exit full screen now since we're finished with our measuring. I have my full window, my navigation tabs back. So I'm going to pop over to the project estimates and set up my page to receive our measurements. By default, our first estimate page is always called Project Estimate 1, with every subsequent page afterwards called the next number in line, such as Project Estimate 2 or 3. We're going to go ahead and rename this, however, by clicking the pencil to edit it, and I'm going to give this the name Landscape. I can press Enter or click the disk to save. Now that we have our page set up to receive the way we want to, I'm going to pop back over to our Takeoff window. And for the items that are going to be 1-for-1s, meaning that I counted 2 live oaks, for instance, in this top count of 2 live oaks, and I need to charge for 2 live oaks. So that one is a 1-for-1 relationship. I just need to create a cost item that denotes these facts. Next, I'm going to do the same thing for the blackjacks, crepe myrtles, Indian hawthorns, yuccas, and Texas sage. The 609 buffalo grass, we're going to wait. We're going to create an assembly for that will charge for both the topsoil and the sod simultaneously. So to send these over at the same time, I'm going to click each one of their checkboxes and then slide up to the Add to Estimate button. Tell it which page to fall to. We can either go with Landscape that we named, or we could choose to create a new estimate, and Project Estimate 2 would be created and receive these items. I'm going to go with Landscape and then click Add. We can click across and double check those went across appropriately. We have Texas sage at the top. We counted 37, and that's our quantity. If we had filled in a description, if we had put a unit cost in the measurement box, then that would have traveled over here with it as well. In the yucca, that's a 5-gallon as well as a Texas sage. So I could easily type in here 5-gallon for each one of these, the yucca, the Indian hawthorn, and the Texas sage. I can also put my prices in for the units for each one of those Texas sage. The 5-gallon, the price for that is going to be $94. Then I click Save. It's going to reconcile that math. We already have $3,478 added to our project total because of the one line item that we priced out so far. The next item down is the yucca. That needs to be priced at $88 each, so I'm going to edit and put in $88 for the unit cost there. I'm going to continue on down one at a time. Next, the Indian hawthorn is going to be priced at $40. Crepe myrtle, I want to put in the description first off that the crepe myrtle is a 65-gallon container plant. The unit cost on that 65-gallon crepe myrtle is $150. Continuing forward, we need to price the blackjack oak and live oak, which the blackjack oaks are $1,200 a piece and the live oaks are $647. So I'm going to start here at the live oak, enter $647 for those, and for my blackjack oaks, those are coming in about $1,200 a piece. This is the installed with labor cost. Next, we need to create the assembly that's going to receive the measurement for the sod and the topsoil. So I'm going to slide up to the top where my navigation tabs are and click Assemblies. Next, create new assembly. This one is going to be for 609 Buffalo. The measurement type we're going to receive is area. Next, we're going to add the items below that we need to charge for. The first item is going to be for the sod itself. The bulk price I could get for that in my local region is going to be $3.64. So I'm going to enter my $3.64 right here. I set the item type to materials, and now I'm going to select square feet as our unit of measure. Every item in an assembly is required to have a formula attached to it, otherwise it will not function properly. If you want it to return a result, then you're going to have to save the progress here on the cost item, and then click the F of X button so you can add a formula. The one I need to apply to this item takes the area in, does not alter it, just spits it right back out multiplied times the cost. I also want to round up so I don't receive any partial results. Next, I'm going to apply that to the cost item. In order to create the labor charge we need for the installation of that sod, I'm going to click Add New Cost Item, and this is going to be my sod labor. We're going to charge 35 cents per square foot for laying that sod, so I'm going to put that amount here in our unit cost box. I'm going to denote that this is for a labor charge and that this is done by the square foot. We also need the same area formula over here, so I'm going to click Area, then apply it to that cost item. Next, we need to capture our topsoil charges. First, we need to include the name, so this is topsoil. Topsoil is going to run $125 per yard. This is for the materials, and its measurement is cubic yards. We're taking in an area measurement, and we want to output the cubic yards times the price. So we're going to have to create a conversion here in our formula section to accommodate that. This formula name is going to be cubic yards from area. In our formula box, we're going to start out with a parentheses. Then we're going to have our area times the depth. The depth of this topsoil is 3 inches or 0.25 feet. Close parentheses. Then I'm going to divide that by 27 so I convert from cubic feet to cubic yards. Then I'll choose to round up the result if we want to. In this case, we do have to because this supplier will only deliver a whole yard. So we're going to round up and include that additional yard. Then we will save the formula and add it to our cost item with a button in the bottom right corner. Next, we're going to add the labor for the topsoil, about $50 per cubic yard. So I'm going to say topsoil labor here for the name. That's going to be $50 per cubic yard, so I'm going to add $50 in here. This is for the labor, and it will also be measured in cubic yards. We're taking area measurement again and charging by cubic yards again. So it's going to use the same formula over here on the right side. So I'm going to use the green plus button. Since I've created it once, I don't have to create it twice. I can simply use it by pressing that green plus. Then I'll apply it to this cost item and then save the changes in the bottom right corner. That's what makes this available in Takeoff to use. After that saves, I'm going to move back over to the Takeoff window where our measurements are. I'm going to right click on the 609 buffalo grass result. Choose the option number 2 on the list, which is send to assembly. Scroll all the way to the bottom for the newest. Click to select it. Click the page I want it to fall to. Then click Add. Assemblies have an Insert Values verification box that opens to verify if you want to use these values exactly as they're measured. If that's the case, then we're simply going to click Insert Values. Next, I'm going to migrate over to the estimate page. The green item here at the bottom of the page is the result from our assembly, so I'm going to use the expansion arrow on the far right end to expand it open. We can inspect the 4 items that were charged for from that single measurement. We measured just under 2620 square feet. It did round up for us since we did select the round up box. Multiplied the cost times that quantity for a result for each line as well as the labor. Same thing on the cubic yards of material for the topsoil. It took that 2620 multiplied times 0.25 and divided that whole result by 27, so we got a result of 25 cubic yards of topsoil we need to spread on this particular job to cover the sodded territory. $50 a yard to install it. We've got our totals for those 2 line items. All 4 of these items together, we'll see that total here at the top at the header level for the assembly. Next, let's talk about overhead and profit. I'm going to increase the entire value of this project by 12%. To do that, I'm going to go up to the overhead and profit box in the upper right, click that gear, and add my 12% increase here and click apply. When I do that, every item gets an increase of 12%. You can look and inspect each item under the overhead and profit amount column to see what each item was increased by. The new result will be over in the totals, and then your new project total is here in the top again. Thus the subtotal, far right, will be your total at $38,325.06. Okay, at the end of the day, after we've accommodated for every item and every labor charge we need to, any incidentals, etc., when we have this completed, we're ready to create our bid from it. If you're going to go ahead and submit this to a GC's inside PlanHub, then we do have an interface button here at the top of the window. Click that button, tell it which pages to include. We only have a single one, so we're including that. Then click Send to Bid Builder. Now, all the line items here from this entry will be placed into a bid for us. I'm going to right click on the banner and open it in a new tab so that we can inspect that bid. Here is our bid that's been created. This is an editable page that you land on first. So as I scroll down, any of the details here you would like to change, you can. First, I'd like to point out that some of the information has been anonymized or absorbed into other fields. For example, we don't necessarily want to turn in with our overhead and profit showing face front, so we've absorbed that into our unit prices. If we had put a waste in, we would absorb that into the quantities. Down below, you can address taxes for each one of these items if you would like to by selecting yes or no as this taxable, and then including your tax rate in the bottom right corner. You could have done that at the estimation level as well. Either place is okay. Next, we're going to click the next button in the bottom right corner. Here's where we're going to select the companies we want to receive this bid. Typically, this will be everyone who's gotten a bid put in for as a GC. However, some may come later, so we're going to leave this button green so that anybody else who comes on the project after we submit our bid will automatically receive the bid as well. Below that, we have a field for a text document of some sort, or a PDF. It actually does need to be in PDF format, so if you have a document that contains legal disclaimers you prefer to submit with your estimate or bids, you can do that here. Also, the GCs would love to receive a little note here from you, perhaps on your company letterhead, introducing yourself, telling them what services you provide, and then go ahead and include a statement in there that tells exactly what you're bidding here. After we put that document in there, you can inspect your work. The final step is going to be submit with the button in the bottom right hand corner of the page. I'm going to cancel this since this is demonstration only, and we'll be back over to our estimate page. So now that you understand how to collect your takeoff measurements, use those to measure and create your own estimates, we hope you'll move forward, perform takeoffs, and create your own estimates. If at any point in the process you require assistance, your customer success manager will be happy to help you however they can, or if you'd like additional one-on-one training, they can assist you with scheduling that